be solving a coding challenge. And let's read what it says. We're not just going to solve it. This is not just solving a coding challenge, but we'll be going through how to think about solving coding challenges. So let's read it. It says, write a function that takes in a string, which is a sentence, and return the string with each word capitalized. So basically, I have the example here. I hope this works. We'll return it with the I capitalized, the H in hope capitalized, and so on. So we'll return the first letter of each word capitalized. And we'll go through how to think about actually going to solve this problem before we actually go ahead and solve it. But first, let's just go ahead and start writing the function out. We can call it function capitalized or uppercase. Doesn't really matter. And this second sentence. All right, so now let's go ahead and think about it. You don't actually have to solve the problem right now. Just think about it. What do we want to do first? We see. Let's look at the example and go with the example. So it says, "I hope this works," and that changes it later on to, "I hope this work," with each word capitalized. But the I is already capitalized in this, so we're not sure how that's going to work. So the first thing we might want to do is make sure all of these are the same. So make sure the I in here is also maybe lowercase, or make sure everything here starts off uppercase. But since most of it is in lowercase, maybe we'll go ahead and make everything lowercase. So the first thing we want to do is make everything lowercase. And just go ahead and write this down, and then later on go ahead and figure out how you're going to do that. So this is what we have first. I hope this works. And the next, thought process that we have going toward this will probably be what? Maybe we want to split these words up into individual words so we can actually access those letters at the beginning. We can access the index of those letters at the beginning of each one of them, right? So let's just go ahead and, write it out. And now that we have that, now next, what will we want to do here? We already made everything lowercase. Now we have split it into an array of words. So now maybe we want to actually look through all of this, go through it, and make the changes that we need to make, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And while we're here, when we look through this, what do we want to do? Maybe we want to look through it and actually do what the problem is asking us to solve, which is why we want to return the first, basically the index, basically the initial of each word capitalized. So let's just do the look through and capitalize first letter of each word. And I think that's something that we can use and go by to actually solve this, right? And this isn't just solving, this is actually going toward how we can solve this. So let us just start with making everything lowercase. I think that's pretty simple. But again, since this is the thought behind how we can solve the problems, if you don't know it, now that you have actually written this out, you can actually just go on Google and search this up. Search up JavaScript how to make something lowercase. And if you search it up, then you will get that there is a method to make something lowercase, just like there is a method to make something uppercase. So we can just go here and initialize this variable as sentence, which is just going to return to us what we have as lowercase, right? So let's take this sent, which is what we're getting into the function. And let's actually just go ahead and make that lowercase. And while we're here, let's just move on to the second line, which is what it says, split the string into an array of words. And once again, if you're not sure how to do that, but you know that's what you need to do, just go on Google and search up how to split the sentence into words in JavaScript. And once you do that, you will realize that the method again is really similar to the one we had before, right? It's named accordingly. So that's split. And when we do it like that, we get it into words. If you do splits without the space between it, we'll get the letters. And if you put something like this, then it will split it by that. But let's put a space so we can get the words. And basically now what we have is each word in this sentence in an array, right? So we can look through it and actually target the first letter of all of those words. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to look through the array of words with some method. You can choose your own preferred method. I will go with map here. It just makes a lot of sense. So let's just do sentence dot map right here. And map, we're taking word that we can use to iterate over, right? And I think it makes sense to just say word here, and I will use an arrow function here. You can just use function and taking word as the argument, but I'll use an arrow function here. And basically, what do we want to do here? We say we wanted to loop through and capitalize the first letter of each word. So let's go ahead and do that. Really simple, right? So we want to return the word, whatever word that it is on, that the loop is on. We want to return that word, the first letter of that word, which will just be at index 0, right? And we want to make sure we capitalize that right there. So what this is going to give us is what? Each word capitalized. So now we have I, H, hope, T, these words. But the only problem with this is one, we haven't added it back to the original sentence that we have. Also, now that we have the first letter capitalized for each word, we will need to remove that word that we had before, because we're going to replace it with the capitalized one. And if this is confusing, I'll go ahead and give an example here. So I hope this works. That's what we're going with, right? What we'll have right now, if we join all of this together, is I, and then we'll have another, everything is lowercase. So we'll have this, hope, this word. So this is what we have right now, and this is not what we want, right? We want the capital letters to replace the lowercase letters that we have here. And there's a method to do that, right? If you don't know, search it up. Search it up and you will get it. You can just search up JavaScript, how to extract a sentence, or JavaScript, how to return part of a string. And you know what? Let me just, since I'm just teaching how to think about this problem, I will search it here with you. JavaScript, how to return part of a string. Just search up exactly what you want to do. And once we search this up, we get quite a things, right? But it says the substring method extracts part of a string beginning at the character at a specified position and returns a specified number of characters, right? And it gives some tips there. Let us actually go into the documentation and see how we can use this. And we see that it takes in the value of something that we want to remove and how many we want to remove after that. And right here, for example, for the Mozilla one, it took in just one value, which is 2, and it removed Mo and left us with Zilla. Basically, what we want to do in this instance is remove M and be left with Ozilla. So maybe our substring will take in the letter 1, right? Because if we take in just the letter 1 and we run it, we get Ozilla, and that is exactly what we want, because we want to remove that so we can replace it with the capitalized one, right? So let us go back into our code and add that to it. So we want to return word, the first letter to uppercase, right? After that, we want to add that back to the original word that we have. We want to remove the first letter, which is the lowercase one, right? And I believe the method was substring that we just looked at. And let's just take in 1. So it will remove the H, the lowercase h, the lowercase t, and the lowercase w. So now we'll have something like this. But this is still not what we want, right? Because right now this is an array. The challenge doesn't ask us to return an array. We need to return the sentence with everything capitalized. So what we need to do is the same thing we did at the beginning to break this apart, right? We split it apart. So the opposite of split, which is what? Join. So then we can just join all of these again right here. So this function practically is done, right? I think this is what we need. This is what we're supposed to be returning, that join. So let's go ahead and test the function out and actually see what we get. And while we're here, this is just we can actually make this concise and put it all together. We don't need to have the sentence here and all of that, right? We can, instead of doing sentence.map, we can actually put a return statement right here and do return the original send that we're getting from right here, send dot to lowercase dot split. And I think we can actually do something like that, and that will work, right? Then we'll no longer need this. It just makes, you know, the code a little cleaner to read. And let's just go ahead and just try that. Uppercase. And the original one is I hope this works, which I do hope this works. and we're expecting to get, I hope this works right here. So let's just go ahead and see if this works. Send that to lowercase is not a function. Return send that to lowercase. Oh, spell lower wrong. So there we go. Make sure you double check your spelling. And I hope this works. As we can see, what we got here, now we have each letter of each word capitalized, which pretty much solves what we wanted to do, right? You can put anything here. You can put this finally worked, mess it up, something. And we can do that, and it will give us exactly the first letter of each word capitalized. Again, just think about it, write out the steps, and if you don't know something, just Google and see where you can go from there. But we can remove all of this now and just have one function that solves this problem. There we go. And this right here is how you can return an uppercase sentence. Return the words of each first index uppercase. I hope this helps somebody out there.